Here are the 10 rejected books of the Bible and what they were all about. 1. The Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch talks about violent giants, human women, and fallen watchers. This ancient book consists of 5 distinct sections written by various authors, along with passages from the Book of Noah. This book's author is unknown. Although Enoch, Noah's great-grandfather, is credited with writing it, the authorship is ambiguous. Since Enoch is regarded as a mythical figure and his name is included in the pseudepigrapha, the real authors used it to convey an air of authority and ancient wisdom. During the Second Temple era of Jewish history, between the 3rd century BC and the 1st century AD, the Book of Enoch was most likely written by a number of authors over several centuries. There are 5 sections in the Book of Enoch. The Nephilim are the children of fallen angels who marry human women in the Book of the Watchers. The Book of Parables introduces the Son of Man, a character who will judge the wicked and discusses divine judgment. The Epistle of Enoch, the Book of Heavenly Luminaries, and the Book of Dream Visions. 2. The Infancy Gospel of Thomas. Thomas's Infancy Gospel is a loose compilation of Jesus-related children's tales. It fills up the blanks in the New Testament Gospels, which largely omit Jesus' formative years. Only the Gospel of Luke, which tells the story of Jesus and his parents when he was 12, contains a childhood narrative in the New Testament. Recent research on the Infancy Gospel of Thomas may mark a shift in opinion, despite the fact that some academics have written it off as spectacular and uncivilized. Not as a source for what truly transpired during Jesus' childhood, but as a witness to what some early Christians pondered, more academics than ever before take it seriously. To put it another way, it's a family drama. How do Mary and Joseph approach the challenge of parenting a child with such a unique personality? Do they understand him? Does he comprehend them? Scholars typically ascribe the Infancy Gospel of Thomas a late 2nd or early 3rd century date. The original language is Greek. 3. The Psalms of Solomon. The Psalms of Solomon is a collection of 18 psalms written approximately 60 BC, during the Roman invasion of Israel. King Solomon died hundreds of years before these psalms were published, therefore it's unknown to scholars why this collection of psalms is titled after him. Perhaps the Psalms of Solomon were named after Solomon because the author of the book was influenced by his writings. Solomon wrote Psalm 72 in the Bible, and the Psalms of Solomon have a similar theme to that chapter. The Psalms of Solomon are historically significant even though they are not regarded as inspired scripture because, like contemporary hymns, they were probably sung in worship. They also represent the first time the Messiah was referred to as the Son of David in history. 4. The Book of Adam and Eve. The story of Adam and Eve following their expulsion from the Garden of Eden is told in the Book of Adam and Eve, also known as the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan. It is not regarded as inspired scripture, rather, it is a part of the pseudepigrapha. An unidentified Egyptian author is thought to have written the book in Arabic, which was subsequently translated into Ethiopian. It was originally translated into English in the 19th century and is believed to have been composed several hundred years before Christ. The Book of Adam and Eve is divided into 2 volumes. Adam and Eve's departure from Eden and the temptations they face from Satan are chronicled in Book 1. According to the account of Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel both had twin sisters. Cain killed his brother because he was in love with his own twin, Lolua, but his parents wanted him to wed Abel's twin, Achleah. The pre-flood history of Seth and Cain's rival families is told in chapter 2 of Adam and Eve. The book is filled with fanciful and imaginary stories, such as how Adam and Eve hid Abel's body in their cave for 7 years when the earth rejected it. Biblical inconsistencies are also included, such as the fact that both Cain and Abel brought grain and blood sacrifices. 5. The Testaments of the 12 Patriarchs. Although academics believe it was composed during the intertestamental period and later revised by Christians, the Testaments of the 12 Patriarchs is a pseudepigraphal book that purports to be the last words of Jacob's 12 sons. Every patriarch encourages future generations to live moral lives by reflecting on their own transgressions and virtues. Levi discusses the perils of pride, Simeon confesses his jealousy, and Reuben cautions against lust. Judah, Dan, and Gad emphasize the need to avoid intoxication, anger, and hostility, while Issachar and Zebulun advocate simplicity and kindness. Joseph and Benjamin focus on purity, especially in resisting temptation, with Joseph being held up as an example of chastity. Though not part of the Bible, the Testaments offer insight into Judeo-Christian ethics of the time. 6. The Letter of Aristes. The Letter of Aristes is an ancient literature that provides a story about how the Hebrew Bible, specifically the first 5 volumes known as the Torah, was translated into Greek. The letter indicates this happened during the time of King Ptolemy II, who requested a Greek version for his great library in Alexandria. He submitted a plea to the Jewish high priest in Jerusalem asking for academics to help with the translation. 72 scholars were chosen, 6 from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. After 72 days of labor, they finished the translation, which is now known as the Septuagint. The letter seeks to demonstrate positive relationships between the Jewish and Greek populations. Despite its popularity, the majority of academics believe it to be more of a mythology than true history. 7. The Story of Ahakar. It is thought that the ancient Near Eastern tale of Ahakar was composed in the 5th or 6th century BC. It recounts the tale of Ahakar, a sage and reliable advisor to the Assyrian rulers Esarhaddon and Sennacherib. Nadine, Ahakar's adopted nephew, betrays him despite his loyalty by falsely accusing him of treason. Consequently, Ahakar receives a death sentence, however, because to their friendship, the executioner spares him. Until Nadine's betrayal is exposed, Ahakar remains hidden. Proverbs and moral teachings abound in the text, with Ahakar's wisdom serving as a major motif. Like other works from this period, the narrative of Ahakar was not considered inspired scripture, but was well appreciated for its teachings on virtue, loyalty, and justice. Its influence stretched across numerous cultures, even being addressed in the Book of Tobit, and spawning comparable works in subsequent Christian and Islamic literature. The story's emphasis on intelligence and moral integrity reflects the values of the time, and continues to be respected for its ethical precepts. 8. The books of 1st and 2nd Esdras. With the exception of certain Greek Orthodox, Episcopal, and Lutheran traditions, the majority of biblical canons do not include the books of 1st and 2nd Esdras. While 2nd Esdras is regarded as pseudepigraphal and apocalyptic, 1st Esdras is found in the apocryphal deuterocanonical scripture. Although it includes historical inaccuracies, 1st Esdras narrates historical events such as the return of the Jews from Babylon and King Josiah's reforms. 2nd Esdras, written later, addresses Jewish suffering and contains 7 visions of Ezra, including messianic prophecies. Both texts provide important insights into Jewish thought during and after the exile, but they also raise issues regarding authorship and historical accuracy. 9. The books of 1st and 2nd Maccabees. The books of 1st and 2nd Maccabees chronicle the Jewish rebellion against the Seleucid Empire from 175 to the 134 BC. Protestants and Jews do not recognize them, although the Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Coptic, and Russian Orthodox canons do. Following Antiochus IV Epiphanes' destruction of the temple and prohibition of Jewish customs, 1st Maccabees centers on the Jewish fight for religious autonomy. Mattathias and his son Judas led the Maccabean dynasty in a successful uprising that restored Jewish religious customs. A theological interpretation is provided by the Greek-language 2nd Book of Maccabees, which introduces ideas such as resurrection and prayers for the dead. Protestants deny the writing's doctrinal relevance, yet they are important to Jewish history, generating Hanukkah and influencing Catholic theology. 10. The Book of Jubilees. The biblical history from creation to Moses, as revealed by an angel, is chronicled in the Book of Jubilees, which was composed between 135 and 105 BC. In contrast to conventional Jewish customs, it places a strong emphasis on a 364-day solar calendar and rigorous observance of religious regulations like the Sabbath and circumcision. Jubilees honors patriarchs, frequently depicting them as immaculate, contrasted with the more truthful narratives in the Bible. It was likely written by an Essene member, as evidenced by similarities to Qumran teachings. Because of its departures from biblical scriptures, the book is not considered canonical by the majority of religious groups today, even though it contains specific religious rites, including severe punishments. Written in Greek and Coptic, the Gospel of Mary was unearthed in 1896 and dates between the 3rd and 5th centuries AD. Despite being frequently associated with Mary Magdalene, the passage never makes it clear which Mary it is referring to. Significant portions of the manuscript are missing, making its message difficult to fully understand. Scholars consider it agnostic forgery, written in the late 2nd century, and view it as an attempt to promote heretical teachings under the guise of biblical authority.